On this Travel Tuesday, we are keeping a close eye on Santorini, Greece, as the island deals with an earthquake swarm right now. A state of emergency has been declared, and a top seismologist warns the biggest quake is yet to come. With us now to discuss this and more is CBS travel editor Peter Greenberg. Good morning, Peter. You're not on the road today.
I'm actually in New York today for one day.
One day, of course, one day. All right, let's talk about Santorini, Greece, and other surrounding islands. Of course, they're no strangers to earthquakes and other, volcanoes and stuff in history. I know massive crowds flock to Santorini every year. My family even visited the island in June. But should anyone getting ready to travel there cancel?
Not necessarily. What you need to do is just have a good plan B and a plan C. Know exactly the signs that you're looking for. The seismologists are recording a huge amount of seismic activity, which is why they're issuing those warnings. But right now, look, this past summer I was over in Messina in Sicily when Mount Etna erupted. It was no great danger to where we were, although it did close the airport for 2 days because of all the ash. Bottom line is, this is the one time of the year when Santorini is not crowded. Of course, it does suffer from over-tourism in the summer. But just have a good plan of attack to know when you can get out and where you can go.
Gosh, I mean, I know that ferry we were just showing. We actually took that ferry ourselves to get to another island. Okay, but that's really good advice. It is such a beautiful island. I know, Peter, we've talked to you a lot about cruises, but not about when you get sick on one as much. And a man from Minnesota, his girlfriend, they won a free cruise, but ended up with a medical bill for $47,000. And he says things took a turn after he contracted the flu on board, spent 4 days in the cruise's medical ward. And he says he also had travel insurance, but the insurance only covered up to $20,000. So with all of that, is there anything people can do in this situation, or should people be prepared to pay big money if anything happens on board? I know that's a lot, but, given some context.
I can dig into that. You remember the show The Love Boat? Remember Doc?
Totally.
Doc is a profit center. If you go to see the doctor on a cruise ship, even for an aspirin, it'll probably set you back $140. They are not full-fledged medical operations, but they do charge as a profit center, and you'll pay. So what you need to do, depends on the kind of health insurance this gentleman had, but the best insurance to get is something called medical evacuation and repatriation insurance. And what it means is, should you get sick or injured anywhere around the world, they will pay to get you medically stabilized where you are, and depending on your condition, will then fly you to the medical facility and doctor of your choice. It's an annual policy. It runs about $750, not $47,000. And if you have regular medical insurance, take a look at the cap. There is usually a cap on spending for some of that stuff, especially on a ship. Every time you go anywhere near a doctor or a medical facility on a ship, get out your wallet, unless you have medical evacuation and repatriation insurance.
Okay, and you said that's an annual policy. Does that mean that you have to have it all the time, or can you buy it year from year?
Oh, no, you can buy it on a per-trip basis, but for $750, get it for the year, because it works if you're in Cancun or in Chicago. I mean, it works.
Right, so if you're taking any trips, especially more than one, make sure you have it. All right, great advice. I know, Peter, you also wrote about firearms being seized by the TSA on your site, petergreenberg.com. And while it's easy for us to assume you can't do that, it's not stopping a ton of other people. What'd you find out?
Well, in 2024, the TSA seized over 6,400 firearms at security checkpoints. But here's the most disturbing statistic. 94% of them were loaded. Now, You might wonder in this day and age how anybody would think of going to the airport with a loaded weapon, considering the fact that everybody should know better. Well, here's a number that might surprise you. Last year, about 85% of everyone, this is an example, of everyone who ever flew on American Airlines only flew the airline once. So you do have a lot of first-time flyers, but come on, guys, common sense would dictate leave the weapon at home.
Oh, my goodness. All right. Well, that's definitely something to think about. CBS travel editor Peter Greenberg, as always, I enjoy talking with you, and I learn a lot. Thanks so much.